Hey friend, this is episode number 555 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford. Business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so, what is it?
Hello, welcome to episode 555. I am your host, Taylor Bradford. I so appreciate you being here. It is the frozen tundra of Texas right now. That is what we're experiencing, and I've been stuck in our home since Friday evening. It's been 4 days, and this is the 5th, and it's crazy. I prepared for 3 days of food for home, and yeah, we did get out yesterday and visit with our nephew and my father-in-law and sister-in-law, and it's still slick as snot. There's so much ice on the road, and we've not raised in temperature high enough to do much of any kind of melting, so we're kind of stuck. And I think we're supposed to do some melting today, possibly, but we are still stuck in the below freezing temperatures at night, so everything just refreezes what's left. And then I think tomorrow we have frozen fog coming. And then this weekend we have another cold front coming. I don't know how it gets any colder. It was technically it was 2 degrees Fahrenheit but felt like -3 or something wild. It has been a really long time since we've been this cold. And yeah, I know that my gate at my shop is frozen shut. I'm not sure when we're going to be able to get it open. I actually considered leaving it open, but then there's a lot of safety reasons for I just didn't want to invite bad company by doing that. So we're just stuck. I'm hoping we can get out though, maybe today, to make a trek to go check on our other property just to see. But yeah, we're still in the frozen tundra. It is absolutely wild. I really do hope that my garlic pulls through. I ended up putting another big layer of mulch on top, and garlic really does like the cold. I'm just worried about how cold the ground is getting. And I don't really care about the garlic tops. They will come back, but I just hope that we didn't get too cold. But then again, people in Michigan grow garlic, so I think we'll be okay. I do need to seed start my marigolds, which I'm behind on, and I need to check in with my garden planner to see if I need to seed start anything else. I had a super slow germination rate on my tomatoes and peppers and yarrow that I'd already planted. I ended up having to put humidity domes on them. I think just my environment was too cold, and then the airflow that I was providing was not helping, even though you need good airflow. And so I had to pop them on. Well, those domes have been on since I put them on, and I haven't been able to get to the shop. So I really do need to see if they need to come off. I didn't read any books because I was in the throes of learning more things about my course. So my course is live. I did in this freeze period, I did get my order bump created, and it is now available. So I have 2 things that you can buy from me right at checkout, which is amazing. I haven't had any sales yet, except my own, because I wanted to see how it actually delivered. But I did recently have somebody comment my keyword on TikTok. Now, I don't have any automations set up, so I do have to check for those things to happen. I know ManyChat just gave the okay for TikTok automations. However, I think you have to have a business TikTok account. And I'm not 100% certain I even want to make TikTok my one platform, just because of all of the glitches. Now, I know Instagram can glitch, but TikTok was just taken over by the US over the last week. I don't remember the exact day it went into like TikTok and US, like all of the data is now being stored in the US for US people that have TikTok accounts. But I had a massive glitch, as did many other people, where I posted and nothing, like 0 views all day long. And that is like not okay. And I actually thought it was me initially. So I would archive the post if it would let me, or like you can hit the delete button, then it'll say, do you want to delete and re-edit? So you say yes. And so then I was doing that and archiving those posts or keeping them in draft and starting over thinking, well, maybe it's me. And I did that 4 times. I don't remember what day that was on, Saturday maybe. And yeah, that was wild. That didn't really recover until last night, Monday. So major problems with TikTok for 3 days. And I don't know that Instagram has ever had that length of problems, like that time frame or time period of actual problems. So that makes me super iffy on allowing TikTok to even be in the running. So then it goes back to Instagram. And for my Instagram, I feel like because of the account is so old, I'm really struggling to make any kind of growth happen with it. So I'm at this crossroad and I'm going to do one more Hail Mary on it before I decide to start another Instagram account specifically for my gardening content. And what that is going to be is a Meta ad that only fires on Instagram, and it is strictly to grow my actual profile, grow my followers. So there is now an option in the Meta Business Suite that allows you to basically set up an ad for more follows on Instagram. Now, it is not buying followers. What you're doing is you are feeding your top performing content based upon the follower ratio. So you go look at a period. I actually did a full year of content. I analyzed a full year of content where I looked at what the date was, because that actually is very helpful when you go pull this top performing content into Meta. So you write down the date, you give yourself the URL to the post or to the reel or carousel. You write down how many views that piece of content got, whether it was carousels or reels. You write down how many follows you got. So if it's 0, you write 0. If it's 10, you write 10. So you create this big spreadsheet, you export it over into ChatGPT, and you ask Chat to basically, now you can do this yourself, but you're asking it to analyze what is your best performing content based on the amount of follows. And so Chat will go through and analyze it for you, and you want it to return 10 to 20. And what you're looking for is anything over 0.5% follows to views ratio. And then that is what you're going to feed into Meta Business Suite. And it is running as an ad on that top performing content based on the amount of follows and encouraging somebody to go follow you. So it's not a bot that is buying followers. It is simply sending out that top performing content that already gave you a good amount of followers organically, and then you driving some dollars behind it to get more followers, because it's been proven content to get followers already on its own. 2 caveats. You can do this for as little as $5 a day, up to no more than $50 a day. You want to make sure the piece of content is not currently gaining traction or going viral. You want, if it's something recent that is still getting a lot of engagement, you want to keep that one on your back burner and wait until that engagement kind of falls out, because it eventually will. And then you can add it into your ads. So you want to create that. And basically, it's like you create a campaign, then you create an ad set, and then you load in the ads. And then what Meta will do is it will analyze your content. It will start sending out those ads. You want them only running on Instagram. You don't want them running on Facebook. The goal is not your Facebook page getting followers. It is Instagram and you getting more followers on Instagram. And so Meta will do what it needs to do based on the budget that you've given it, and it will figure out what is going to perform the best, and then it will take your budget and throw it at that content, whether it's 2 pieces of content out of the 10 or 1 piece of content out of the 10 or 3 pieces of content out of the 10. It will do that figuring for you based on how it is analyzing what is happening. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to start at $5 a day. It won't give me a whole lot of like audience. I think it's saying 12 to 1500 is kind of the audience range that I'm going to hit, which is very, very low. I actually need to go in and figure out how to widen that because I do need a bigger audience. So the other caveat to this is you can load in if you have sold something. If you've already sold something and you have at least 100 sales on the thing and you have those email addresses, you can feed that into Meta as your audience. If you don't have that, you can use your Instagram account as long as you have 100 followers. So that is the next step. So if you don't have 100 sales, you use your Instagram account, you have to have at least 100 followers. If you don't have 100 followers, but you have an email list that has nothing to do with the course you sold, you could use that. And then if you don't have any of those, you can do the interests, create an audience based on interest, and then try running an ad like that. So I have 3,900 followers on Instagram, so I was using that. But here's the thing. Even though I have 3,900 followers on Instagram, I have wheedled down that immensely, but it's still people that have followed me for a really long time from like the blogging space. And I don't think that there's solid data. I don't think it's solid data for Meta Business Suite because it's showing me there's 1,200 to 1,500 people I can target. And I need a much wider audience than that. So I may do a interest-based audience first to see if I can grow based on anyone that might have gardening interest, growing their own food, and see if I can widen the audience that Meta is going to use to try to find people that want to follow me on Instagram. So that's the Hail Mary that I will be doing. And that's not even part of what the business nugget is today, but that is some business nugget for you. And I imagine moving forward as I work really hard at getting to this 1 million with the 5 ones that I will be having multiple business nuggets in an episode for you. So let's move on to what my search bar confessions are for the week. So the first one is going to be, I recently heard, and I don't know if it's Purdue University, I feel like it is, but there are people that have, or they strongly feel like they know where Amelia Earhart's plane went. And I'm fascinated by that. So I routinely, like every couple of months, go Google Amelia Earhart to see if there's any additional updates because I think that's fascinating. Our technology has gotten so much better than when obviously first searches happened that they think they now know where she went down. And I believe it's southwest of Hawaii. I don't remember the exact island, but it is an island that they are searching around. It's a very, very tiny, tiny, tiny island though. I also Googled, can you auto reply natively on Instagram? And you cannot. still, you have to use something like ManyChat, although Kajabi now has that as an option. It's an add-on to your plan. And Linktree now adds that as an option. I don't know if it's on a free account or not, but there are other options besides ManyChat. I just haven't moved forward on any of that kind of automation just because I'm trying to keep costs low before I start bringing in sales and then investing more. I may change my mind and just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and restart my ManyChat account. I Googled fermented cabbage. I wanted to know how to do that, and I've got an experiment going for that. I wanted to know how I contacted my senators, and I did. So I wrote both of them emails, and I plan on calling them this week. Let's see, what else do I have in my search bar confessions? How to bake the best baked potato. And then finally, where do you install carbon monoxide detectors? Because my sister-in-law is about to move into one of my duplexes, and I know I have one in there, but I didn't know if it is installed right because I've never had anybody ask me that, and it is installed correctly. You can put it up at the ceiling, but you want it to be within 15 feet of your sleeping spaces. So food for thought on that. Okay, that wraps up this week's Search Bar Confessions. Let's get into the business nugget, which is everything I'm doing for traffic to my course. So I told you about my last Hail Mary for my Instagram account before I decide to attempt a brand new Instagram account, which is getting follows to my Instagram account running an ad. Again, it's not buying followers. All it's doing is using top performing organic content that was proven to get followers in the first place based on the amount of views it got, and running that as an ad. And then the button is to follow me on Instagram. So it will take them to my profile, and then they still have to make the decision to follow or not. So it's not buying followers. So what am I doing for traffic to drive traffic to my course checkout page? I am publishing one reel a day, and 30% of this content is follow for more, and 70% of the content is actually pitching my course. So I think that there are multiple style of reels that you could do, but you want to make sure that every 5 reels is actually showing your face, so there is a connection, a human connection. And then every 3 reels, you need to actually physically be pitching in the reel itself, not just the caption. So if you pitch in the reel itself, your caption is simply your call to action. That's it. So this style of reel is considered a brag and pitch. So I grew 1,000 pounds of produce in my audience. Let me show you how. Or so I'm bragging that I was able to grow 1,000 pounds of produce in my garden. Let me show you how is me showing you how I did it. Something like that. So brag and pitch. I made X amount of dollars doing X, Y, and Z. I got 50 clients in 2025 doing X method. Like, it is a brag and pitch, but your actual caption for that piece of content is simply the call to action, doing the thing you want them to do. You can do low effort reels, which is simply like B-roll with text overlay and a trending audio. You can have footage of you and then have a long caption. And the goal of the long caption is to actually get the footage that you have put into the reel to loop, so that sends a signal back to Instagram that this is engaging content. And you want your hook and your CTA to be in your caption. You can also do a talking head reel. Make sure there's captions on the video itself. And then you keep a very simple call to action in the caption area. So the caption's job is to get the reel to loop when you choose the footage of you plus the caption on the reel, and like giving the call to action to go read more in the caption, and the caption is going to force the reel to loop. You can also do that in the low effort reel, but just be mindful that if you go heavier text on screen, to go light text in the caption. So caption's job again, when you write a long caption, is to get the reel to loop, and because you want the caption long enough that your reel just keeps playing while they read. So make sure your reel provides a very clear next step. You don't want multiples. I think that sometimes that was my own problem, is I wanted them to follow for more, and then I wanted them to share and save it. Like, if you give them too many things to do, they just get caught up in overwhelm or decision fatigue, and then they just keep scrolling. So 70% again of your content needs a clear call to action for everything that you sell, or the one thing that you're focusing on selling. Now let's talk about story content. And I think this is something that gets missed based on what I am seeing and what I am learning about story content. So if you think about your own behavior with stories, it is people that you engage with frequently is who shows up at the beginning of your story kind of feed. And those are the people that you actually want to get information from. If you go and scroll the Reels feed, most of these people aren't people that you currently follow. And the ability for you to quickly scroll through is much faster than you tapping through somebody you already trust on stories. So your story content, what I am specifically doing and trying, even though sometimes I get really excited and want to show something else, but my goal is one story a day, and I shouldn't create anything more than that, but one story a day unless I get super excited. You want the previous story to fall off before you publish the next one story a day. If it hasn't by the time, like, let's say you decide 8:30 p.m. is going to be when I publish my new story for the day. If your other story hasn't fallen off by the 8:30 time, just delete it. So that it is like, delete it, wait a few minutes before you hit publish, so that it is the only thing that is cycling. Like, you don't have two stories back to back. You want that one story. And in this one story, you want a strong headline. You want a story-driven pitch paragraph and your call to action. And you only want this to be on a static image. You don't want this to be on a video. So your headline portion, your strong headline, this is what is going to stop them in their tracks to get them to not tap to the next story. And then your pitch paragraph, your goal is to write a compelling and persuasive first sentence that gets them to read the next sentence. And then your second sentence follows that same format, compelling and persuasive, to get them to read the third sentence. Do you get my drift? It has to be so compelling that they keep reading till they get to your call to action. And then your call to action is getting them to do something for you. And it needs to be comment X word below. That is what you need to do. And then in that long paragraph of text, hold down the word that you want them to comment. Hold it down, change that color to that word, and then click out. If you mess that up, just reset and do it again. You don't want the whole thing changing. You just want one word to change. Now, if you go back in and edit the total words in that paragraph, it will reset that color. So you'll have to keep doing it until you get it right. So make sure that word you want them to comment is easy to spell, because if you have automations turned on for a specific word that they're going to DM you, if it's not spelled correctly, it won't fire that automation. Now, obviously, if you're manually doing these, there will be no automation, so it won't matter if they don't spell it right, but you do want an easy word that they can spell. And then it needs to be something that emphasizes what they want. So if they want your course, you need them writing the word course. If you want the freebie, you want them writing the word freebie. If you want the shortcut, you want them to write the word shortcut. If you want the hack, or if they want the hack, you need them writing the word hack or tips or whatever. So the word needs to be something that emphasizes what they want. So those are the things that I am doing. Those are my conversion mechanisms to get them to my checkout page is 1 reel a day and 1 story a day. And then my additional strategy is going to be seeing if I can grow my Instagram account beyond what my content is already doing. Okay, so that was a lot. Those are the things that I am doing and will be doing. I will be checking in each week about those things and obviously sharing things that are working for me and sharing things that are not working for me, etc. So you're going to be getting lots of business nuggets as I work through trying to get to this 1 million. Like that is the goal, is 1 million in sales of this product before I start expanding. Now, again, as a reminder, I will have products behind that one product. So the one product is my course, Stop Garden Pests Organically. My order bump is actually garden plans. So that increases my order value. And then once I sell 20 of those order bumps, then I will add another upsell behind that. Oh, but wait, here's another great resource that I have available that you can buy now. So the goal for me is to have 3 or 4 more offers behind that order bump, but I will only add to them once I sell 20 of the one I just added. So I have my work cut out for me, but I already know what those things are going to be. I just need the order bump. Well, first of all, I need sales in general, but I need the order bump to sell 20 times before I add the next upsell behind the order bump. So yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that the frozen tundra starts melting soon because I am getting a little stir crazy. I have been binge watching Homeland with Claire Danes. I'm in season 3 and yeah, I don't want to run out of seasons. I need more things to watch in the future if I run out of Homeland. Okay, until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.